morning, this is Miss Rose Edie, and today we'll be talking about the respiratory system. There are two different types of respiration, cellular respiration and external respiration. Cellular respiration is the release of energy from the breakdown of food molecules making ACP. As the name implies, this happens within your cell, and your cells use this energy to do the basic molecular processes that keep you alive, like making proteins and that sort of thing. The other type of respiration is external respiration. This is the type of respiration we'll be focusing more on today. And external respiration is a process of exchanging oxygen from the atmosphere and carbon dioxide from the body. Let's talk a bit about the parts of the respiratory system. One of the parts of the respiratory system is your nose. Your nose helps filter the air, filter any dust or things that are stuck in the air as they come into your body. It also starts the process of moistening the air. The pharynx is a tube that connects the nose and mouth to the trachea and esophagus. At the base of the pharynx is the epiglottis. The epiglottis is a flap of tissue that covers the trachea when you're eating to prevent food from entering the lungs. The trachea is a cartilage-reinforced tube that brings air into the lungs. The trachea you can actually feel. When you're talking, place your hand on the front of your throat. That vibration you can feel is the larynx, but when you rub around the area that's vibrating, you'll feel like circular bumps. And those circular bumps are the cartilage that is supporting the trachea. Your larynx is two elastic folds of tissue at the top of your trachea that allow humans to make noise. Like I said, when you're talking, if you place some pressure on your neck real gently, you can actually feel your larynx vibrate while you're talking. At the base of the trachea, it divides into two. And when it divides into two, each of those tubes are called bronchi. Bronchi are the two large tubes that connect the trachea to the lungs. Each bronchus divides into smaller airways. These smaller airways that branch off the bronchi are known as bronchioles. At the end of each bronchiole is an alveoli. An alveoli is a tiny air sac where oxygen and carbon dioxide are exchanged in the blood. We have three different things that protect the lungs. The first are cilia. Cilia are tiny hairs that trap particles and move mucus out of the lungs. So the hairs first have the particles stick to them, and then they wave gently. Now they wave in the opposite direction that the air moves into your lungs. So the cilia push particles up your trachea. And when they get to the point where your trachea and your esophagus connect, the cilia push those particles into your esophagus, and you swallow them into your stomach. Mucus is a thick liquid that traps smaller particles. Surfactant is a liquid that coats the walls of the alveoli to increase flexibility. Surfactant is very important to develop in babies before they're born, because the babies need that surfactant to keep their lungs flexible enough so that when they take their first breath, when they breathe out, their lungs don't collapse again. Now we're going to talk a bit about the mechanics of breathing. For breathing to occur, you have to understand that your chest cavity is a sealed compartment. Okay, there's no, the actual chest cavity itself is pretty much a vacuum. There's no air moving into your chest, and there's no air moving out of your chest except within the tubes. It's sealed by a large flat muscle at the bottom of your chest called the diaphragm. Now when you inhale, the diaphragm contracts, and as you can see here on the diagram, when the diaphragm contracts, it pushes down, and as it pushes down, this area, the volume of the lung, gets larger. As you probably know, when you increase volume, pressure decreases. When the pressure drops, the pressure of the air outside is greater than the pressure of the air inside. So air moves from the outside into your lungs. When you breathe out, your diaphragm relaxes. When your diaphragm relaxes, it moves up into your chest cavity. This makes the volume of your lungs decrease. When the volume decreases, the pressure inside your chest increases. The pressure in your chest is higher than the pressure outside your chest. So the air is pushed out of your lungs through your airways into the rest of the atmosphere. So how does our body control breathing? Interestingly enough, although we need oxygen to live, our body controls the level of carbon dioxide. So what your body looks at is there are cells that sense the amount of carbon dioxide in your blood. If you have a lot of carbon dioxide in your blood, you will breathe very quickly. If you do not have very much carbon dioxide in your blood, your breathing will slow down. We have some conscious control over breathing. In other words, we can breathe, we can inhale when we want to, or we can try and keep ourselves from breathing. But after a while, your body will override attempts to hold your breath too long. So if you hold your breath, eventually your body kicks in mechanisms that will force you to breathe. That's the end of our show for today. Thank you for listening, and I will see you later.